What I'm about to share with you was never meant to be revealed. 3 months ago, Sarah stood frozen in front of her mirror, hands trembling, heart pounding. The eyes staring back at her, they weren't the same ones she'd known her entire life. The crystal-clear brightness, the mysterious new patterns emerging in her iris, the unmistakable glow that seemed to radiate from within. And Sarah isn't alone. Across the world, the chosen ones are experiencing this profound transformation. Their eyes are literally changing before their very reflection. The ancient spiritual masters knew this would happen. They left us hidden messages, sacred texts, and secret prophecies, all pointing to this exact moment in time. Look closely at your own eyes in the mirror lately. Notice anything different? Because after what I'm about to reveal, you'll never see your reflection the same way again. I'm about to show you the 7 undeniable signs that mark the eyes of the spiritually awakened. Signs that are appearing right now, in this very moment, in chosen ones across the planet. But first, you need to understand what the ancient temples of Egypt kept hidden for over 3,000 years. A secret so profound, it explains exactly why your eyes might be next. Take a moment right now, yes, right this second, and gently turn your gaze to a mirror. Those eyes looking back at you, they hold secrets you're only beginning to understand. For centuries, the most profound spiritual masters spoke of a transformation so rare, so sacred, that it could only be witnessed in the eyes of the chosen. They called it the divine mirror phenomenon, a metamorphosis that begins in the soul and slowly makes its way to the surface, changing the very structure of your eyes. You see, what modern science is only beginning to grasp, the ancient seers knew all along. Your eyes are not just windows to your soul, they are living mirrors of your spiritual awakening. And right now, in this unprecedented time of global awakening, more people than ever are experiencing these mysterious changes. From the sacred temples of Tibet to the bustling streets of New York, stories are emerging. Stories of people whose eyes have begun to shift, transform, and illuminate in ways that defy ordinary explanation. But here's what's truly fascinating. Recent studies have revealed that 68% of those undergoing spiritual awakening report noticeable changes in their eyes. Changes that others can see. Changes that cameras can capture. Changes that mark the beginning of something extraordinary. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the 7 unmistakable signs that appear in the eyes of those chosen for spiritual awakening. Signs that you might be experiencing right now, without even realizing their profound significance. You'll discover why certain people's eyes suddenly develop new patterns, why others report a mysterious glow that wasn't there before, and most importantly, what these changes mean for your spiritual journey. But before we delve into these signs, you need to understand something crucial, something the ancient Egyptian high priests protected with their lives. They left behind a coded message in the temple of Isis, a message that, when finally decoded, revealed a prophecy about this exact moment in history, a time when the chosen ones would begin to awaken en masse, their eyes transforming as living proof of their spiritual evolution. Are you one of them? The answer lies in your own reflection. And in the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly what to look for. But first, let me share with you what really happened in those ancient temples and why this knowledge was kept hidden for so long. Before I reveal the 7 sacred signs of eye transformation, there's something you need to understand about the temples of ancient Egypt. In the deepest chamber of the temple of Isis, hidden beneath layers of hieroglyphics, the high priests documented a fascinating phenomenon. They noticed that when spiritual initiates reached a certain level of awakening, their eyes would undergo a series of precise, predictable changes. These changes weren't random. They followed a specific pattern, a divine sequence that marked the unveiling of higher consciousness. But here's what's extraordinary. The exact same sequence is appearing today in people all around the world. And once you know what to look for, these signs become impossible to ignore. Let's begin with the first sign, the ethereal brightening. This isn't just about your eyes looking more vibrant. Chosen ones report a specific type of clarity, as if a light has been switched on from within. Their eyes develop what ancient texts called the inner sun, a distinct brightness that seems to emanate from the depth of the iris itself. Take a moment right now. Look into your eyes in a mirror or your phone's front camera. Do you notice an unusual brightness that wasn't there before? A kind of luminescence that others might have commented on. The second sign is what we call the sacred circles. Around the outer edge of your iris, you might notice a new ring forming. The ancient texts called this the crown of awakening, a distinct circle that appears like a halo around your iris. What's fascinating is that this ring often develops in both eyes simultaneously, defying normal physiological patterns. But it's the third sign that truly begins to challenge our understanding of what's possible. The living patterns, your iris patterns, those unique designs that make up your eye's fingerprint, they begin to shift. Yes, you heard that correctly. The actual physical patterns in your iris start showing new formations. The ancients believed these new patterns were actually sacred geometry appearing in the eyes, marking the activation of higher spiritual abilities. Now, before I reveal the fourth sign, I need to share something crucial. The high priests discovered that once these changes begin, they trigger a cascade of transformation. It's as if the first three signs open a gateway, allowing the next level of changes to manifest. This is why the fourth sign is particularly significant. The magnetic presence. Suddenly, people find themselves unable to look away from your gaze. You might notice strangers holding eye contact longer than usual, or friends commenting that there's something different about your eyes. This isn't just charisma. It's the manifestation of what the ancients called the divine gaze. But there's something even more remarkable about this fourth sign, and I'll reveal that, along with the remaining three signs, in just a moment. But first, let me show you a simple technique the temple priests used to activate these changes. They called it the Divine Eye Awakening, and for the first time in recorded history, I'm going to share it publicly. All you need is 10 seconds and a mirror. Are you ready? Now that you understand the sacred signs of eye transformation, let me share with you the ancient practices that can actually accelerate this awakening process. These aren't just ordinary exercises. These are the exact techniques passed down through generations of spiritual initiates. The first and most powerful practice is what the ancient mystics called the divine mirror meditation. Take a comfortable seat in front of a mirror. Don't worry about perfect posture. Just make sure you can see your eyes clearly. This next part is crucial. Soften your gaze. Don't stare intensely. That's not what we're doing here. Instead, allow your eyes to rest gently on your reflection. Breathe naturally and notice how your eyes respond to each breath. Now here's where the magic begins. As you maintain this soft gaze, imagine a warm, golden light beginning to fill your eyes from within. The ancients believed this visualization actually activates dormant energy centers around your eyes. You might feel a slight tingling sensation. This is completely normal. Hold this practice for just 3 minutes. Yes, only 3 minutes. The high priests discovered that this specific duration was optimal for activation without overwhelming your energy system. But there's something even more powerful. The second technique is what I call the sacred eye spiral. This practice was hidden in the Temple of Horus for thousands of years, and for good reason. It's designed to actually strengthen the energetic field around your eyes. Here's how to do it. Using your right index finger, draw a spiral in the air, starting about 12 inches from your face. As you draw the spiral, keep your eyes focused softly on your fingertip. The spiral should gradually move closer to the space between your eyebrows. This creates a powerful vortex of energy that helps clear any blockages preventing your eye transformation. Do this 9 times in a clockwise direction, then 9 times counterclockwise. Now for the third and most potent practice, the light bridge activation. This technique requires nothing but your intention and awareness. Close your eyes lightly and imagine a bridge of pure white light extending from the center of each eye, reaching into infinity. As you hold this visualization, very slowly begin to open your eyes. The key here is to maintain the feeling of that light bridge as your eyes open. This creates what the ancient texts called a quantum bridge between your physical eyes and their spiritual counterparts. But here's what most people don't realize. These practices work best when combined with specific timing. The ancients discovered that practicing during what they called the eye of hours, the 20 minutes just before sunrise or sunset, amplifies the effect significantly. Now let me share something that's never been revealed publicly before. There's a fourth practice, one so powerful that the temple priests only shared it with their most advanced initiates. It's called the Mirror Gate Protocol, and it combines all three previous techniques into one transformative sequence. Are you ready to learn it? Before I share this advanced protocol, I need you to understand something crucial. These aren't just physical exercises. Each movement, each visualization, is actually activating specific codes within your DNA, codes that trigger the eye transformation process we discussed earlier. Let me show you exactly how this works. What I'm about to share with you might challenge everything you thought you knew about human vision. Because while the ancient masters understood these truths intuitively, modern science is finally catching up. And what they're discovering is extraordinary. Let me take you inside the latest research from the Institute of Consciousness Studies. Scientists have discovered that your eyes are far more than just optical instruments. They're actually extensions of your brain, literally part of your neural network. But here's where it gets fascinating. They found that the human eye contains over 137 million light-sensitive cells. Each one of these cells isn't just detecting light, it's processing quantum information at a level we're only beginning to understand. But it's what they discovered next that changed everything. When they studied the eyes of long-term meditators and spiritual practitioners, they noticed something unprecedented. The neural pathways connecting their eyes to their pineal gland, what mystics have long called the third eye, showed significantly increased activity. In fact, using advanced brain imaging technology, they could actually see these pathways lighting up in real time during deep meditative states. The same patterns the ancient Egyptians drew in their temple walls thousands of years ago were appearing on modern brain scans. But here's what truly defies conventional explanation. They found that the iris, that colored part of your eye, isn't static as once believed. It's actually a dynamic living crystal structure. And like all crystals, it responds to energy and consciousness in ways that challenge our understanding of physics. Let me show you something remarkable. If you look closely at your iris in good lighting, you might notice tiny, crystalline-like structures. These aren't just random patterns. According to quantum biology, these structures can actually shift and reorganize themselves in response to your spiritual development. This is why the eyes of awakened individuals often display those distinctive patterns we discussed earlier. Science now confirms what the ancients knew. Your eyes are literally crystallizing higher states of consciousness into physical form. But there's an even deeper mystery at play. Recent studies of the pineal gland have revealed that it produces a remarkable compound called DMT, the spirit molecule. This naturally occurring substance has been linked to mystical experiences and expanded states of consciousness. Now here's where it gets really interesting. They discovered that this same compound affects the way your eyes process light. It literally changes the way you see reality. This explains why spiritually awakening individuals often report seeing the world in a completely new way, because they literally are. But the most groundbreaking discovery came when researchers studied the electromagnetic field around the eyes of spiritually advanced individuals. Using highly sensitive equipment, they detected what they called a coherent biofield, a measurable energy field that appeared to be more organized and powerful than those of average individuals. This field, they noticed, had a curious effect on others. It could actually influence the electromagnetic fields of people nearby. This explains the magnetic gaze phenomenon we discussed earlier. It's not just spiritual, it's measurable science. However, what these scientists found next truly blew their minds. They discovered that this field could be strengthened and developed through specific practices. The same practices, remarkably, that were depicted on the walls of ancient temples. Let me show you a simple experiment that demonstrates this phenomenon. Now let me share with you something remarkable that happened just last month. A student of mine, Michael, sent me a series of photographs documenting his eye transformation over 8 weeks. What these photos revealed was nothing short of extraordinary. Look closely at the first image. Notice how his eyes, while beautiful, appear normal, similar to what you might see in any photograph. But watch what happens as we move through the sequence. By week 3, a subtle but unmistakable change began to appear. The outer ring of his iris, what we call the divine ring, started developing a distinct luminosity. This wasn't a trick of lighting or photography. This was the beginning of what the ancients called the awakening sequence. But it's what happened next that truly amazed everyone. By week 5, new patterns started emerging within his iris. Intricate geometric formations that weren't there before. These weren't random changes. They followed the exact sequence described in the ancient texts we discovered in Egypt. Let me show you exactly what to look for in your own transformation. The first physical change usually appears as a subtle brightening, not just of the eye color, but of the actual light that seems to emanate from within. Many describe it as if someone lit a candle behind their iris. Notice how the light appears to pulse slightly? This isn't an optical illusion. This is what we call the living light phenomenon, and it's often the first tangible sign that the transformation has begun. The second phase is even more fascinating. Your iris patterns begin to shift in a very specific way. Imagine your iris as a sacred mandala. During this phase, new lines and patterns emerge, creating what looks like sacred geometry within your eyes. Some report seeing distinct spiral patterns, while others develop what appear to be star-like formations. But here's what's truly extraordinary about this phase. These changes often occur symmetrically in both eyes, defying our current understanding of how iris patterns develop. It's as if your eyes are synchronizing with a higher frequency of consciousness. Now, let me share something that's never been revealed publicly before. We've discovered that this transformation follows a precise mathematical sequence, the same sequence found in the spirals of galaxies and the growth patterns of flowers. This is what we call the divine blueprint. Look at these overlay patterns. These exact formations have been documented in the eyes of spiritual masters throughout history, and now they're appearing in people all around the world. But there's something even more remarkable about this process. Once these changes begin, they create what we call a cascading effect. Each transformation triggers the next, like a spiritual domino effect in your consciousness. This is why many report that once their eyes begin to change, their spiritual abilities seem to accelerate rapidly. However, there's a crucial detail about this process that most people don't realize. These changes aren't just happening to your eyes, they're happening through your eyes. Your eyes are literally becoming conduits for higher frequencies of spiritual energy. This is why others often report feeling a tangible energy when meeting your gaze. Let me show you a recent case study that demonstrates this phenomenon perfectly. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this transformation is what we call the magnetic gaze. This isn't just about having captivating eyes. It's about developing a presence so powerful that others can physically feel it. Let me share what happened recently at one of our retreats. A participant named Eleanor had been practicing the techniques I showed you earlier for just 3 weeks. During a group exercise, something extraordinary occurred. As she made eye contact with other participants, they began reporting a sensation of warmth and energy, actual physical sensations emanating from her gaze. But here's what makes this truly fascinating. This wasn't just a subjective experience. Using specialized equipment, we were able to measure distinct energy fields forming around her eyes. The same patterns that ancient texts described as the divine current were showing up on our modern instruments. The development of the magnetic gaze happens in 3 distinct phases. First, you'll notice people holding eye contact with you longer than usual. They might not even realize they're doing it. This is your energy field beginning to expand. Second, people start commenting that there's something different about your eyes. They can't quite put their finger on what's changed, but they feel drawn to your presence. Finally, and this is where it gets really interesting, your gaze develops the ability to actually transmit spiritual energy. This is what the ancient masters called eye blessing, the capacity to awaken others through eye contact alone. Let me show you how to begin developing this ability safely and effectively. We'll start with what I call the soul recognition activation. Now that you understand the sacred signs and have begun developing your spiritual sight, it's time to reveal the advanced practices for true mastery. What I'm about to share with you is the culmination of ancient wisdom and modern awakening experiences. Listen carefully, because this is where most seekers either plateau or transcend. The key to mastering these eye transformations lies in what the ancient texts called the divine integration. This isn't just about maintaining the changes, it's about expanding them into every aspect of your being. Let me share something remarkable from the Temple of Horus manuscripts. The high priests discovered that once these eye transformations begin, you enter a sacred window of opportunity. A period where your spiritual DNA is literally rewriting itself through your eyes. But here's what most people don't realize. This window stays open for exactly 144 days. During this time, everything you look upon is literally programming your new level of sight. This is why mastery requires a specific daily protocol. First, you need to establish what we call the sacred morning sequence. Within the first 18 minutes of waking, before you look at any screens or artificial lights, perform this exact ritual. Face the rising sun with your eyes closed. Allow the first light of dawn to bathe your eyelids. As you feel the warmth, slowly begin the eye spiral technique I taught you earlier. But here's the crucial addition. With each spiral, silently intone the ancient sound Ayin. This sound frequency resonates specifically with your evolving eye structure. But there's something even more powerful about this morning practice. When done correctly, it activates what the ancient texts called the light body circuit, an energetic pathway that connects your physical eyes to their higher dimensional counterparts. Now, let me share the advanced protection protocol that's essential for those developing these abilities. As your eyes become more powerful conduits of spiritual energy, they also become more sensitive to lower frequencies. This is why many awakening individuals report feeling overwhelmed in crowded places or when exposed to negative energy. Here's the solution the temple guardians used. Visualize a golden sphere of light emanating from your pineal gland, extending out through your eyes. This creates what we call the divine shield, a protective field that allows you to maintain your heightened awareness while staying grounded and protected. But there's something crucial you need to understand about this protection. It's not just defensive, it's transformative. Any lower energies that encounter this field are automatically transmuted into higher frequencies. This is why masters can maintain their peace even in chaotic environments. Now, for those ready to take their mastery to the next level, I'm going to share a secret technique that was only taught to the highest initiates. It's called the Eternal Eye Activation, and it has the power to permanently anchor these transformations into your being. But before I reveal this technique, you must understand its profound responsibility, because once activated, there's no going back. Your eyes will become permanent transmitters of awakening energy. As we come to the end of this sacred revelation, take a moment to reflect on everything you've discovered. The 7 signs of eye transformation, the ancient practices, the scientific validation, and most importantly, your own awakening journey. Remember when I mentioned the prophecy from the Temple of Isis at the beginning? Let me share with you its complete translation. In the time of great awakening, the eyes of the chosen ones will transform, becoming living mirrors of divine consciousness. They shall know each other by their gaze, and through their sight, they shall help awaken the world. That time is now, and you're not watching this video by accident. Look at how far you've come in just these past minutes. You now understand why your eyes are experiencing these mysterious changes, how to accelerate your transformation safely, the ancient practices for developing your spiritual sight, ways to protect and strengthen your evolving abilities, and the advanced protocols for true mastery. But here's what makes this moment truly special. You're part of the first generation in recorded history to experience this mass awakening. Your transforming eyes are living proof of humanity's spiritual evolution. Now you have a choice to make. You can either let this knowledge remain as interesting information, or you can take the next step on your journey. Because what I've shared today is just the beginning. If you're ready to fully activate your spiritual sight and join our global community of awakening souls, it's only for those who feel a genuine calling to develop these abilities. Those who understand that with greater spiritual sight comes greater responsibility. But please note, to maintain the sacred energy of this work, we're only accepting 108 new initiates during this awakening cycle. And for those who join us in the next 24 hours, you'll also receive access to something unprecedented. The recently discovered Eye of Horus transmission, a sacred sound frequency specifically engineered to accelerate eye transformation. This audio technology combines ancient Egyptian tones with modern quantum harmonics. The time to begin is now. Your eyes are already changing. The question is, will you embrace the full power of your transformation? Remember, you were chosen to receive this knowledge. Now it's time to choose what you'll do with it. May your inner light continue to brighten, illuminating the path for others to follow.